Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today's Thursday, February 4th, 2021. I'm Trey Crowder. That's Mark Agee. What's up, Mark?
What's up, Trey? I once again thought about you when I read a story about exercise bikes earlier. The apparently during the pandemic, something called Zwift, which is like racing Peloton bikes, has caught on,
Yeah.
and people have been cheating at it.
Yeah, surely not. No, it's a whole thing on there. Apparently, like people get insane about because they have leaderboards and people do everything they can to be at the top of them. Just totally ignore the routine, Mark. Just have no respect for the routine and just do their own thing the whole time in an effort to get the most points or whatever. And I'm pretty solidly in the bottom eighth of the. It's like if there's 10,000 scores, I'm around 8,600, something like that. That's where I'd ride in at. So I had to just take the leaderboard part and push it off to the side because I couldn't deal with that anymore. But I know that people are insane about it, so I'm not at all surprised to hear that they're cheating.
I just think it's funny that cyclists are like, we all do what we need to do to feel normal during the pandemic, but bicycle racers are so addicted to cheating.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like, who would ever imagine that cyclists would cheat? You know, one thing cyclists not known for, cheating.
Lance Armstrong already won 6 Tour de France's and was still cheating.
Right. But they were all cheating. You know, it's like Bill Burr said, our juiced up guy was better than y'all's juiced up guy, so it should still count. Anyway, let's get into the show. With us as always, producer Matt doing his thing. This is Evening Skews. Got a good show for you tonight. We're going to go in on the unbridled lunacy of Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, including a conversation with senior Georgia correspondent and noted Marjorie Taylor Greene shit talker, Forrester. Y'all know him. You love him.
They're definitely going to end up dating at some point.
Yes, he's from her. He's not only the senior Georgia correspondent, but just as a reminder, y'all, he literally lives in her district. He will be joining us later in the show to talk all things MTG and her madness. We're also going to talk about the fact that Donald Trump has apparently opted to walk away from his prestigious career as a thespian. Yes, he's stepping down from the Screen Actors Guild, and he did it in the most Donald Trump fashion imaginable, so we'll get into that too. And some other fun stuff, depending on time, on tonight's edition of Evening Skews. But first, as always, we begin with the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's dumbass is Texas Congressman Brian Babin, I think, or Babin. Brian Babin, who, while defending Marjorie Taylor Greene on the floor of Congress, made a near unprecedented error in the fundamentalist Christian community when he misquoted a Bible verse in an effort to make a political point. I know, that's odd. You wouldn't expect that of those people. It's out of left field, but it happened. Mac, you play the clip showing it?
If my Democrat colleagues are attempting to take the speck out of their eye, I encourage them to also take the log out of their own eye. Out of our eye, then take the speck, but take the log out of their own eye. Thank you.
So, all right, a couple things, Mark.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, I've made no bones about the fact that I'm very Bible dumb. I don't know shit about the Bible, but I don't claim to, so I don't feel at all hypocritical about that because I don't recognize this verse either. But A, I want you to tell me what it is. But B, also, he's the Texas. This made me almost like weirdly nostalgic for George W. Bush. You know what I mean? Like, this is a very W type of moment, I feel like, for this guy, and it brought me back to my youth a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, as a well-known Christian comedian,
but you're like you know Bible shit though.
I do know about Bible shit.
Right.
18 years of Bible school. Thanks, Mom. So the verse is like basically talking about Pharisees. Before you worry about the speck in someone else's eye, get the plank out of your own eye. I mean, that's the funny thing about him hypocritically trying to cite a Bible verse he doesn't know is the verse is about hypocrisy. Right.
So it's just like another version of the stones in a glass house type of thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. It's exactly. Except the analogy is like that. You're actually. It's not just like stones in glass houses, like people being equally wrong. The
Yeah.
plank versus spec is like, you're worse. You're a way less moral person. He's trying to say
Right.
Democrats are more crazy than Marjorie Taylor Greene, so they should worry about Ilhan Omar first before they get mad about MTG or whatever.
Right, which that seems to be kind of their the tack they're trying to take, or a lot of them are. We'll get into it a little bit later, but like Hannity did a version of the same thing where like even the ones that are trying to be sane and acknowledge her insanity are still trying to make it sound like Democrats are more insane than she is by a lot. Apparently log versus spec type of ratio, and I don't know that I believe that, but hey, they got to try something, I guess.
Yeah. Who amongst us, Trey, hasn't harassed a victim of a school shooting? Like, really.
Right. Yes. Okay. So we'll talk a lot more about Marjorie Taylor Greene later. But first, we got some honorable mentions for you. The first one is Florida, noted Floridian, noted Florida man, Matt Gaetz. You know him. You love him. Trump man to the end, which he clarifies right here on Steve Bannon's podcast, radio show, or whatever the hell it is. Where he was taken to task over his commitment to the Trumpian cause. And this is what he had to say, Matt.
Then step down from Congress. Would you resign in order to defend the president on the way that you want to defend him?
I love my district. I love representing them, but I view this cancellation of the Trump presidency and the Trump movement as one of the major risks to my people, both in my district and all throughout this great country. Absolutely. If the president called me and wanted me to go defend him on the floor of the Senate, that would be the top priority in my life. I would leave my House seat. I would leave my home. I would do anything I had to do to ensure that the greatest president in my lifetime, one of the greatest presidents our country has ever had, maybe the greatest president our country has ever had, got a full-throated defense that wasn't crouched down, that wasn't in...
I like it. It's very appropriate that he went with full-throated defense, I feel like, at the end. Not to just, not to be too lowbrow here, but just laying it all out on the table, making it clear what he's doing.
If Donald Trump was known for anything, it's being too meek to defend himself from things he thinks are bad. This guy, I mean, this guy bugs me for a lot of reasons, but one, his head's too big, and we need to address that off the top. His head is, he looks like a fucking Pez dispenser, or like he looks like a Bitmoji character of himself. But Trump, I don't understand why these people do this, because Trump, like any maniac bully, the people he resents most are the people who kiss his ass, and they all end up throwing in a wood chipper. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Fuck this guy. I hope he does quit Congress to be Trump's defense lawyer.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like also just that, I mean, no, he wouldn't. Right. Like that's also the other element of this for me, is that he wouldn't do any of that. I don't think, which is, I mean, I know that's par for the course for them, but it just makes it that much worse.
He might though, Trey, because like these people, we talked about this before, but they all we showed a Trey Gowdy clip the other night. He quit Congress to go host a show on Fox News. Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to be an influencer. That Madison Cawthorn guy bragged about how he didn't hire any legislative people. He hired all communications people. They want to be stars. They do not want to be politicians. So he might quit because he'd probably make way more money as a pod. He wants our job, Trey. He wants to quit Congress to fucking talk on a live stream.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he wants our specific job. Yeah, but yeah, no, I'll more power to him. Hell, like you said, I let him do it. That'd be great. We're talking about these people not having their priorities entirely in line from our perspective. And the next honorable mention is a good chunk of Ohio. I shouldn't say that. There was a sorry, Mark, I'm hearing myself coming from you, I think. If you get turn it down a little bit. Yeah, we're getting the echo. Try to address that real quick. But there was a meeting of the state Congress in Ohio that featured constituents coming and speaking at it, right? And Matt, you can throw up the graphics whenever you want to. It was anti-mask, anti-vax Ohioans coming out en masse to support this bill targeting the health department in Ohio. And weirdly, they didn't have the best complaints from my perspective. They spent a lot of time talking about how oppressed they have been by COVID-related regulations. And so you can see a few examples here. A woman told of her favorite gluten-free bake shop having to close down in 2020, thus denying her access to, and this is a direct quote from her, cheesy bread with the best freshly made marinara sauce I've ever tasted. She also claimed her cat died after being refused treatment during the initial stay-at-home order. Now, look, rest in peace to this lady's cat. But the cheesy bread, though, this is indicative of the types of losses these people are going through, Mark.
I mean, what really hit for me in that is the cheesy bread outranked the cat.
Yeah, she led with the cheesy bread.
Yeah.
Yes, she's been denied the cheesy bread. But yeah, another one, they also, the feature act, as far as this article presents it, was a seventh grade student from Warren County, Ohio, who complained about having to speak loudly during his school's socially distanced lunches, I guess giving him a sore throat, which would be bad. I'd hate to get like something going on with your throat during this pandemic. But he described being annoyed by the overuse of hand sanitizer in school, which dampens his paperwork and makes dodgeballs tougher to grip during gym class. The horror. This is what's going on in Ohio, Mark. Why is nobody talking about this? They got slippery dodgeballs, dampened homework. They're having to talk louder than Ohioans like to talk. It's a travesty.
I feel bad for this little kid that he has this ready-made excuse for why he's getting his ass kicked so much in dodgeball. This little nerd, but I do admire his hustle trying to go with the hand sanitizer ruined my homework defense.
Right. Yeah. Well, also the getting your ass whipped in dodgeball defense too. I think that's what he's doing with both of these things. It's like, just so everybody knows, the reason I was getting my ass whipped and my homework wasn't good is COVID-19. And that's what's going on here. And then this guy, which I think I could say, as a married man, I feel like I probably know where this dude's sort of coming from, but this is still some bullshit in the same vein. Another guy got up there and first of all said that he used to really enjoy watching bands perform from his apartment window at a bar across the street, and now that's ended. So what is he supposed to do, everybody? Also, footnote, parenthetical, in his written testimony, didn't bring it up in person, I guess, but included in his written testimony, he blames the governor and these regulations for ending his marriage. So this guy's he's having a rough time. Imagine having you have a divorce forced upon you by the state you live in, and then you can't even rock out through your window every night, like at the bar band across the street. Who's gonna play Journey cover songs and stuff to soothe your broken heart during this age of COVID? It's sad.
Before we gloat too much and
Right.
talk about how this guy shouldn't be blaming the demise of his marriage on the pandemic because we're doing so great. We haven't made it all the way through yet.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah. Don't want to count our chickens before they hatch over here, me and Mark, with our marriages. There's still plenty of pandemic left, so we'll see how it goes. But so far, hanging in there.
I do know of at least one couple that had to go into marriage counseling because of fights about the COVID restrictions. So this guy's not alone. But
No.
Yeah, I do think just suck it up, man. It's a fucking the bar is closed. The bar being closed causes your marriage to break down. It probably wasn't gonna make it anyway. But yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Although this one could have been a dumbass nominee too, as I teased up front, Donald Trump has left the Screen Actors Guild. He's left the union for actors that he is, of course, a noted member of, very influential member of, because, see, they had been talking about removing him from the union, and he played the classic, "You can't fire me, I quit" card in the way that only Donald Trump can do. And Yes, see this headline here. Noted Home Alone 2 actor Donald Trump resigned from the Screen Actors Guild in the pettiest letter. I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see the actual letter itself, but I still want to, Matt, if you can get it put up.
I got the important part right here, Trey.
Okay. All right.
While I'm familiar with their work, I'm very proud of my work on movies such as Home Alone 2, Zoolander, and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, and TV shows including The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Saturday Night Live, and of course the most successful show in television history, The Apprentice. Now, I don't know about what metric The Apprentice is the most successful show in the history of television.
Yeah, dude. The Wire, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, fuck all that. The Apprentice, the real gold standard. Although, I mean, in terms of like sheer numbers, The Apprentice probably did beat at least some of those shows, but still, it can't be it's like you said, by any metric, it's not the most successful show in television history.
Yeah, like 100 million people watched the MASH finale or whatever. Like it's not even remotely close. So yeah, but this underscores something that's like pretty, like that somehow escapes most people's like understanding of Trump. Is his primary business for the last 40 years has been show business. Like he's in show business. He's one of his life's biggest grudges. The Apprentice never won an Emmy. Like he's still mad about that. That's why he complains about Hollywood so being unfair so much. He thinks The Apprentice didn't win an Emmy because people personally find him distasteful, which might be true. But also, he's the host of a shitty reality show. You're not going to beat out, Bryan Cranston for Best Actor.
So this whole thing is good. This entire letter, in my opinion, is good because, yes, what you said is the best part, but of course, he didn't stop there. He went further. He also said, I've also greatly helped the cable news television business, said to be a dying platform with not much time left until I got involved in politics, close parentheses, and created thousands of jobs at networks such as, this is in his letter to SAG, networks such as MSDNC and Fake News CNN, among many others. He then goes on to say, your organization has done little for its members and nothing for me, as evidenced by your massive unemployment rates and lawsuits, yada, yada. I know, and then he goes on later, I no longer wish to be associated with your union. As such, this letter is to inform you of my immediate resignation from SAG-AFTRA. You have done nothing for me. Signed, President Donald J. Trump.
Here's the important thing. He's saying, as a pro-union guy, I want to point out that while he's saying the unions never did anything for him, he's still going to collect about $100,000 a year in pensions that the union fought for him to get. So he's wrong about that. Go union. But the funny tidbit I loved about it was, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to know this, but SAG-AFTRA is a merger of two unions. One used to be for movies, another one used to be for TV. He had to join AFTRA when he appeared in a movie called Ghosts Can't Do It, starring Bo Derek in 1989. And I want to read the plot description of this movie. Scott and Kate are happily married despite their 30-year age difference. After Scott suffers a heart attack and is unable to have sexual intercourse, he commits suicide and becomes a ghost that only Kate can see and speak with. To make it possible for Scott to return as a human, they conjure up a plan to have a young man drown so Scott can take his body. And we have a clip of Trump's appearances, two of Trump's appearances in this fucking. How accurately they summed up what Donald Trump is and what he once said to him in 1989 is so fucking perfect. Hit play, Matt, if you get it. All right, maybe we're having technical difficulties.
No.
Oh yeah.
And I won. I did. I beat you.
You were very good. You played the situation perfectly.
So I beat the situation, but not you.
That's what you did.
I think you like to make mischief.
You noticed that too.
It's up to you now.
What?
Up to you, not up to me.
Hey. This is, oh God, I love it. That's the ghost. That's Anthony Quinn, Trey. He won 2 Oscars. Then he did this movie. This is Bo Derek at her peak and a 2-time Oscar winner playing her older
I hope I was
rich
clear,
husband.
not too vacant-headed. Because from the look of this room, it isn't women's work we're doing here today.
It has been.
No cooking going on.
There is no point
Yeah.
that can
be argued.
Now, if you skip ahead to
The
150, I
point
think it's got the best.
is based,
one of the
as it
best
is
ones.
stated. It's not ambiguous.
So Trump's
There's no
big scene
room
is
for
the
any-
boardroom scene.
Yeah, it
That's
looked
where
like
he
he shut
comes
it
This
up
up.
has
one
been
day.
interesting. Tomorrow at 11 we will vote, and that will settle it for now.
But be assured, Mrs. Scott, that in this room there are knives sharp enough to cut you to the bone. And hearts cold enough to eat yours as hors d'oeuvres.
You bet your sweet little ass, honey.
You're too pretty to be bad.
You noticed.
Oh my god, dude. What?
Yeah.
Like, wow, holy shit. I actually hadn't seen that clip yet. What did he actually like flub a line and they kept it in sort of in the middle of that, or was that just like something with the bandwidth where it kind of jumped through there where he's like to your hearts, or it sounded to me like he fucked the line up and that was still the best take they had, and then of course it ends with you're too good looking
Pretty to be bad. And,
yeah,
you know,
you're too
both-
pretty to be bad. Oh, you noticed, huh? Like,
And earlier she said, "I think you like to make mischief," and he goes, "Oh, you noticed." This is the exact same fucking. It echoes itself. It just like he just gets to be a coy little mischief maker.
he did that somehow. Like it was either something like he gave him some money or just said like, because again, he was famous at this time. The man's been famous for being a rich douchebag for our entire lives, basically. So he either said like, yeah, I'll appear in this movie, but only if you let me have these two things be said, or just straight up gave the production some money to make himself look like a sexy badass mover and shaker or whatever. No, you're right. It's very, very fitting that that was his first ever appearance on the big screen was
Yeah.
in that capacity.
And-
Of course, what other capacity has he ever appeared in? You know what I mean? Like, whichever appearance was his first was going to be a version of that, but still, it's
Yeah,
Really
we talked
on the
about it
nose.
before, but one way it ended up being in so much stuff is he would offer up Trump Tower as a free shooting location if
Right.
you put him in stuff.
right.
So people would like, he's like, "Oh, we got a free boardroom to shoot in," and Donald Trump will play himself as a rich douchebag. So here we go. It's a layup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's get into large-brained Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody's favorite Georgian recently. She's really shaking shit up, Mark. She's out here just accosting school shooting survivors and denying 9/11, and then doing the opposite of both those things in public while still having proof that she did exactly those things out there for the world to see, just rending the GOP to its foundation. Or is she? They seem to be standing in solidarity and in applause for her. Right, Mark?
Yeah, so she got a standing, like they had a big Republican caucus meeting last night where one, they were going to decide whether to take a vote to discipline Marge themselves, and two, people were trying to call for a vote to remove Liz Cheney from leadership for voting for Trump's impeachment. Cheney pretty easily won a blind vote to keep her position. It was like 150 to 60 or something. One person abstained from voting in a secret ballot, which is very brave.
However, that's also even on the. I know we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but even on the Liz Cheney thing for a second, like yes, she did handily win the like secret ballot after catching all this public shit from the. It's just very indicative of how they operate, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like it shows that there's plenty of them who in private behind the scenes are kind of sane, or however you want to put it. But they refuse to announce publicly that they are sane, So it's just so appropriate. But anyway, on to MTG.
Yeah, so she stood up at the caucus meeting and said that she said she was wrong, that 9/11 happened, that there are no Jewish space lasers, yada, yada, yada. She waffled on whether school shootings are real. Her position seems to be that some of them are probably real, but most of them are probably staged by Nancy Pelosi and whoever. Hillary Clinton probably behind it. I don't know. And but she said enough of them are real where they were fine of it. So they didn't even hold a vote whether to censure her or to kick her off committees. And it's worth understanding here that she's on the education committee. And the reason she seems to want to be on the education committee is so every time a Title IX bill passes through, she can use her position to shit all over trans kids. She wants to so she can go viral in the MAGA, online sphere. Just complaining about, boys playing high school basketball and going to girls' locker rooms or whatever. So that's the only reason she wants to be there in the first place. So fuck her to death in 10 different ways.
Right.
Literally, by the way, I realized that sounds like I was advocating some sort of like violence. That's not what I
No, yeah. We know what you mean.
So if you're wondering, like, Hannity actually did a pretty good clip last night where he talked about what's wrong with her if Matt has it.
Yeah, the Hannity clip, Matt, whenever you've got it. I think the first part and the end part are just so telling for how they're trying to handle the Marjorie Taylor Greene situation, I think, in the mainstream GOP.
We all know as a fact that a plane did hit the Pentagon, and it was real. In fact, we lost a good friend of this show that day. You might remember Barbara Olson. She was on the plane that terrorists crashed into the Pentagon. 2018, TAYLOR-GREENE apparently said that California wildfires were started by a space laser.
Look at that.
Controlled by some kind of evil corporate cabal, which in my mind is not exactly true. And I have no
not exactly true.
Whatsoever.
Sean Hannity, not exactly true. Look at that headline, man.
Also recently disturbing, a video surfaced
GOP Congresswoman blamed wildfires on secret Jewish space laser.
A kid that survived the Parkland school shooting, he lost friends that day. And she accused him of being a trained actor. I'm sorry, I don't go there. I think kids are off the table. Poor kid had been through hell. The families who lost loved ones, they're watching this. Adults, my view, I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative.
Like,
I think we leave
first of all,
the
you
kids
shouldn't
alone,
even have to say that,
and
Mark,
the people
about
of this
kids
country
being
are
off the
allowed to have
table
their
or
views, and frankly, it
whatever.
might surprise some
But
of you. I
like,
actually am encouraged by any young
Sean
people
Hannity,
being
who I'm
engaged in the
not a big
political
fan
process,
of,
regardless of whether
is
they're liberal or
mostly talking
conservative. Remember
sense
Churchill,
throughout this
if you're
clip,
20 and not
right?
a liberal, you don't have a heart. If you're 40
And then
not a
at the
conservative,
end of it,
you don't have a
he
brain.
of course has to
Okay,
find
so
a
you
way
hope
to
there's an
circle it
evolution,
back
but the
to their
interest is
typical kind of
key
bullshit.
to have
After spending
more-
all this time talking about how dumb she is and how
representation
crazy
and
she
a better,
is,
a better,
he then has to pull
well-informed
out the
Now, from my
spec
perspective,
log
there's not a single conservative
eyeball
I know that
scenario we were
shares
talking about earlier.
those conspiratorial beliefs or supports the action confronting young people, claiming that the school shooting
his
that happened
defense of
didn't
kids
happen.
is weird to me
I
because
don't
he
know a
just
single
lost a lawsuit
conservative or
for
a single
harassing Seth
Republican,
Rich's family
frankly,
and
that
to
even
hide
knows
it.
what QAnon even
Right.
is,
So,
let
fuck
alone
him
buys
too.
into whatever
Oh, of
those
course,
beliefs are.
yes. If that
So
wasn't
keep this
clear,
in mind. Marjorie
yes,
Taylor
of
Greene
course,
has little
fuck him.
power in the House of Representatives. But we now have to look at the other side of the aisle. That's the Democratic Party. Yes, they have a lot of fringe conspiracy theories
There we go.
and agitators,
Yep, here it
except
comes.
they're not little known in their party. They're literally running the whole show for the Democratic Party. They set the agenda, and they have all the power. So
yes, he
yeah, so
spends
he's doing
2
that.
minutes.
Ilhan
He spends
Omar.
2 minutes talking about, how crazy she is, basically, and how any, sane conservative could never go along with that type of shit. But then at the end, pivots immediately into this. But she's nowhere near as crazy as the Democrats are, and they need to start with their own house first. So
Yeah, because Ilhan Omar insinuated that Israel has too much sway in her foreign policy because they donate a lot of money, and which people heard as an anti-Semitic slur. I don't know how she meant it, but it can very easily be taken to just be an actual honest critique of how American foreign policy works. And I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because she said sorry for how she sounded. She apologized for the fact that it sort of walked up the line of sounding anti-Semitic and walked it back. And I don't think it's quite remotely the same thing as saying Jews have space lasers that burn everything down. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to try something real quick, and we'll know quickly, I think, whether it works or not. Everybody, if this doesn't work, we apologize, and we'll see. Corey is here, but is having audio issues. Matt, I actually want you to try to bring Corey in for a second and just see if when you do, if he can hear us. If you can't, Corey, do the thumbs down. Wow, how would he know to do that? Yeah, look at him. He doesn't know. He's got nothing. How would I verbally explaining to him how to tell us that he cannot hear us? Yeah, nothing at all. Okay, all right. Well, Matt, take him out. We'll in the chat if we can. Yeah, thanks for Corey Ryan Forrester, everybody. There he is. Yeah, we'll see if we can get that fixed. In the meantime, Mark, say some shit about her.
Well, she keeps going back to being like, I have denounced Q. I haven't promoted Q in a while. When she's fucking lying, she retweeted a QAnon article in December saying that how accurate it was. So the Democrats did kick her off committees today, and they got 11 Republican votes to go along with them. So it's a little bipartisan, but there's still going to be a big partisan fight because she went to the floor to defend herself before they voted her off the committees, and she said a bunch of insane shit. But she did say that 9/11 did happen. She didn't say who she thought was behind it, but she did say it did happen. So that's a little bit of progress.
Okay, Matt, bring Corey back in whenever you want to. He says he can hear us now. So whenever you can do that, bring him back in. Yes, but so it's insane. But and I'm not the first person to point this out. That's what they were saying on Twitter about this earlier. How crazy is it? Hey, there Corey is. What's up, baby? You can hear us?
Yeah, I just had to get on my phone, so sorry if my audio's not as good. But
No way, Matt. Please kill the other Corey. This is a nightmare. We've got two Corys here. What? Not that Corey. Oh wait. All right. Please look. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, everybody. Look, Corey Ryan Forrester's here. This is a professional operation. No, you're good. Can you hear me? Can you hear us? Okay, good. For a second there was two Corys, and one of them couldn't hear and was somehow popping up. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
That's my bad. I didn't click out of the whole thing. Dude, I'm so sorry about this. This is dumb.
No, it's all right. So we were just saying, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's went out there publicly talking about how she does believe 9/11. She does believe school shootings. I know, right? And that's what I was just about to say, how crazy it is that that's even a thing that's happening, right? Yeah. That's so wild that it's news that this congresswoman from your district where you live has gone on the record saying 9/11 did happen.
It's just bizarre that, we've gotten to that point. I don't know if you're aware, but I've had literally thousands of people in the past couple of days when they found out that I was from this district that have been telling me to run. And first off, you two guys know that if we're in such dire straits that people are like, Corey, save us. We are so utterly fucked. But I didn't know that I could just be like, hey, my name's Corey. I think 9/11 happened. So anyways, vote for me, right?
Yeah. But just, I know we've joked about this before, because I've gotten the same type of thing in the past about you should run for office or whatever. And it's I'm glad that I hit for y'all or whatnot, right. but rate your actual chances there in Northwest Georgia, Corey. If you did run, as soon as they watch literally any one of your videos or whatever, right? How's that gonna go, you think?
Not good. I think that it's a bad read. I think that that's what a lot of people don't understand. I kept telling everybody online, I was like, look, man, let me tell you what's gonna happen. Okay. I'm gonna run for office. Marjorie Greene and them, their campaign work was, here's what they did to the last guy. He got death threats and quit. All right.
Yeah.
So they're gonna dig up a bunch of stuff. There's some stuff that I willingly put out there that could get me out of this. You know what I'm saying? And Lord knows the shit that I don't win the race and I get fucking canceled. So I don't even have a comedy career to go back to. So I'm just a man without a home, just sitting there going y'all won't buy this car. So I don't, it's not it doesn't benefit anybody. I'm a fucking idiot. Dude, at least you've got an MBA, you went to college. Dude, I did nothing. I'm such a dumb piece of fucking human garbage.
I liked what you said about that the other day because it spoke to me on a personal level. You tweeted about all these people asking you to run for office against her, and you were y'all, I crumble up the potato chips into the French onion dip and eat it with a spoon when there are no big chips left. I ought not be in Congress. Yeah. Which, again, I very much related to. However, I did want to say, shit, you're using a spoon? Fancy. That's highfalutin. But I just get in there like this. Just two fingers. Funny? Go for it. Just
so many people like the average comment on that was like, "This is exactly what we need." You're not wasting materials. Like, this is absolutely perfect. You know,
buddy, reach. You talk about a reach, brother.
But to actually answer your question, so here's the deal. You know who my folks are, all right?
Yeah.
They voted for Trump. They think that this lady is a lunatic,
right?
And they didn't like. And I did a piece for the CBS Nightly News, which y'all don't worry about it. It ain't airing. I sort of did some stuff.
Surely not.
Yeah, but like it ain't airing. But my point is like on the CBS Nightly News, I was just like, look, this ain't all of us. And they were just like, well, I mean, y'all elected her. And I was like, motherfucker, there wasn't nobody else on the goddamn ballot. And they go, who'd you vote for? And I was like, I wrote my buddy Robbie in. That's right. Every time. If I do, because sometimes there's only Republicans and I've got to vote, but I have to vote my conscience, so I just write in Robbie Robertson. That some bitch has got at least one vote every goddamn election cycle. My point is, so many people that you would think she hits for, she does not hit for them. So if I was to run, I do think I would get further along than you'd think. But then this lady would hang my dog in my yard and I'd have to quit. So like, it's not fucking worth it. Like, I don't have a comedy career, a political career, or a goddamn dog.
Well, I do have to say, having you saying how your first CBS Nightly News appearance has gone, I want to see, you in one or two debates at least, which I mean, I always did, but I'm saying like, sounds to me like you're just campaign trail material, baby.
The thing is, you can't debate that. And like,
you can't.
Dude, do you know how many fucking brain aneurysms I've almost had in my life talking to goddamn Christians? Because when you go to debate them, you could literally be right, and then they can just be like, well, the Lord works in mysterious ways, or the conspiracy theory people have that too, but instead of saying the Lord works in mysterious ways, or you just got to have faith, they just end up going, that's what they want you to believe. And
do your own research.
Exactly. Quit being a sheep.
Right.
Yeah. Do you actually remember seeing them planes hit the towers, or did you just see it when Katie Couric fucking wanted you to see it? Like, there's no arguing with these people. So I just go up there and be absolutely righteous the whole goddamn time, and then somebody fucking stab me.
Yeah.
Don't hit.
The guy who ran against her didn't just quit because he got death threats. His wife fucking left him for running for Congress. His whole life, he had to move.
Pussy and he dropped out.
It is funny to me that like she's got all this horrible attack ad stuff like about like not believing in school shootings and harassing David Hogg in person and all that shit. But you think what would knock you out of the race is like an expose about how you finger banged a substitute teacher when you were a sophomore.
Okay, but I gotta say again, though. Right? Exactly. Like that's the whole thing to me is that like they on their side, she can have all that shit and get through it. But I think Corey's right personally. Dude, on our side, there's plenty of shit Corey said again on the record, just as a comic being funny or whatever. That would be a problem. Right?
Oh my God. And by the way, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've never thought in my life, like, one day I'm going to have to defend 9/11 in a debate against, this, but like, dude, I mean, like, that's the fucking problem is, like, unfortunately, we Democrats hold ours to a higher goddamn standard. Al Franken should be the fucking president right now, but he can't because he made a titty joke one time. Buddy, I'm a walking titty joke.
You are. I feel like Mark's about to go in on us, so I'd like to open it up for that to happen.
Mark don't know fucking shit, dude. Listen, Mark constantly, listen, I know that Mark reads a lot and has a lot of like knowledge and information, but tell me how that shit works out in the real world, Mark, where we live. All right? This motherfucker's like, y'all don't worry, Joe Biden's gonna win by 9 points. They're definitely not gonna have a goddamn insurrection at the Capitol. That'd be that ain't gonna happen. Blah blah blah. You don't know a goddamn thing. So go ahead.
I never said that. I told everybody that was gonna happen on 6 on the show.
Say what you're gonna say about why I should run and ruin my life.
No, you shouldn't run. But like I do, to me, it highlights what you're pointing out. It's a very safe Republican district. They could throw her overboard and replace her with like a gun with googly eyes on it. It would make less trouble.
For sure.
So
I'd
that's
vote for the googly-eyed gun over her ass.
Yeah.
So that's what's so maddening about this is they could totally kick her out of Congress. A Republican governor of Georgia would appoint a replacement who definitely, or a special election would definitely elect a Republican who just believes 9/11 happened, and we could all move on as a country. But there's so many Marjorie Taylor Greenes out there that they're like 30% of the Republican Party, and they don't want to alienate them, so they go start the Patriot Party or whatever and drown them.
So, can you explain to me something? Because y'all know me. First off, can y'all see me?
Yeah. Yeah, we see
word!
it.
I didn't think you could see me because I'm like all black up here on the screen. Shit, I've been running around my attic scratching my nuts and shit. Like I thought I was all.
No, you looking good. You're actually doing a hell of a good job framing yourself up, considering you can't see anything at all.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You're right in there. We can see it.
Y'all know me. If there's one characteristic that defines Corey Ryan Forrester, it is that I'll be the first to admit when I don't know something, and farts. But on the first thing. So right now I'm told that they have just taken away some of her privileges, Marjorie's, right?
Yeah.
What does that exactly? Because to me, when they're like, "Hey, you can't do that thing you're supposed to do," so what does that mean? Like she's out. Like what's the deal?
The party leadership gets to pick who's on what committee. So they put her on a couple different committees, education and labor, I think.
Oh, good. Those are the two I'd put her on.
Education, especially given her history with being, generally empathetic and caring about the plights of school children.
Yeah.
Right.
So Republicans refused to remove her from those committees so the Democrats could be in the party and control, kicked her off those committees. That's the vote they just took today. So she has a job, she just can't go to most of it.
I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. But they can't, she can't be voted out by the other Congress people, right? Outside of being impeached or something. I don't know how that works for anything that ain't a president.
What's the precedent for that?
They can tell her Congress.
Did we just jinx on a big word?
Yeah, jinx on a big word, baby. Big word, jinx.
Yeah, no,
you owe me a fucking Fresco.
I'm not sure higher threshold than just a majority, but they could kick her out of Congress.
All right.
They just didn't. Yeah.
I was about to say, dude, President Trump's been impeached twice, which I know that impeached just means charges brought against them because I do read your text, Mark. But I don't I didn't know because she's so low. She's a fucking state representative. You'd think that they'd be able to just go put her somewhere, in a corner or something.
I think that's what they're trying to do, right, Mark? Is trying to basically put her in the corner without kicking her out of office or something.
I think
they being the Democrats, by the way, the Republicans ain't trying to do shit with her.
Of course,
I think the Republicans would love for the Democrats to kick her out of Congress and make a martyr out of her,
right?
And also let them off the hook for having to defend her,
right? Because I was about to say, to them, I do think, and I know, goddamn, it's horrible if you're sitting here relying on the Republicans to do something, but there's a part of me that has to go, okay, the Mitt Romneys of the world, the last bunch of them has to be sitting there going, guys, sincerely, for the future of our party, if we keep letting this happen, we're just going to be splitting our votes. There's going to be people who are like, hey, listen, I'm a Republican, but I can't get with this new shit. Y'all are gonna have to condemn this. Now that Trump's not in office, you're gonna have to put your foot down. And to me, it doesn't behoove them to have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene in office. But like you said, if they don't actually do it, then they don't ever have to admit to anybody that they, what's the word I'm looking for? When you do something to somebody that don't hit, betrayed.
Yeah,
they had to betray a member of the Republican Party, and then they can make her look like a martyr, and they can basically set her on political drift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it feels like to me that the Democrats in the House think she's going to be good for fundraising and good for campaign ads, and I think they're all playing a very dangerous game because she's bad for society.
Right.
Dude, it's even more different than Ossoff and them running, she's fucking dangerous. The stuff that she's doing she's making it seem okay for you to go up to school shooting victims and harass them just because you don't believe in their thing. That's dangerous. Like the type of behavior that she's all about is going to get people killed. And I know that like a lot of Republicans, if you go down the line, it's like, well, a lot of the things that they like will get you killed. But like hers just seems like a very more streamlined, in your face type of lunacy. I mean, am I wrong? Did this woman not say that there was goddamn Jew lasers on the moon?
She did, yeah. Secret space Jew lasers, yes. Jew lasers on the moon. Like I said, it's streamlined. I like how you said streamlined lunacy. You know, like that's her thing. Yeah. I think like she's streamlining the lunacy of their side.
She explicitly called for Nancy Pelosi to be executed 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Like, so it's like these aren't roundabout conspiracy theories. She's saying, I think Nancy Pelosi should be shot in the head. Like a declarative sentence where it's not like if George Soros is eating babies, we should have a tribunal. It's not even that. It's not fantastical like that. It's very Corey's right. It's very literal, straightforward, advocating for people to be murdered.
And here's the deal. So that's some shit that Alex Jones says, but it's like, well, okay, Alex Jones isn't an elected official. So I agree with you on that. Like those are two different things. But and you know what? Maybe this isn't good for my career to say this right now, and y'all don't even have to chime in. But because motherfuckers like Joe Rogan decide that it's okay to have Alex Jones on their show and to continue to give these people platforms, then a Marjorie Greene Taylor swoops in there and becomes an elected official that says this very fucking dangerous shit. So guys, I'm sorry that something's good for your goddamn downloads. And hey, we've got to listen to both sides of every story. But honestly, you're a fucking coward piece of shit. And you could literally have anybody in the world on your fucking show at any goddamn time. So quit giving these lunatics the biggest microphone in the world so that you can make them all feel safe and make them feel like we have a voice in this society. Because then my district elects a goddamn lady who grabs fucking kids like the Billy Madison does and shakes them like, you didn't get fucking shot. Like, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. And that's because we've just let it get this far. Okay? And I'm sorry, I'll probably never get booked on that goddamn show anyways. I'm sure I'll get bumped for for Pat Robertson or some shit.
I think that Rogan would have you on to debate you, which is like his defense of himself is he's debating these people and telling them they're wrong, but he's still giving them 20 million YouTube views.
I honestly, right now, as of today and as of recently, I agree with you, Corey, because of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I used to like defend that type of thing, the whole like deplatforming argument or whatever, and this was always stupid of me, frankly, because like people be believing dumb shit all the time. But my thing was always like, man, you know, if somebody hears Alex Jones, because to me it's so clearly lunatic. It's like lunacy to the point of being comical. Like I listen to it laughing my ass off because I'm like, how crazy? Can y'all even believe how crazy this dude is? So in my head it was like,
I said the Alex Jones, Joe Rogan appearances aren't entertaining. Of course they are.
Right, but I used to always think like, dude, if somebody hears that and gets like swept up in it or whatever, then shit, that's their problem because it's so crazy. But like in the age of QAnon and Marjorie Taylor Greene and stuff, obviously that's just wrong, you know, like it just happened. Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like those.
No. Yeah, for sure.
If you've got those crazy of thoughts, you're not just gonna have them and then not do anything with them. You know what I mean? Like
I just very, very consistently overestimating society or the internet or whatever is what, you know, because in my head I was like, dude, nobody's listening to that shit and sitting there thinking, oh my God, this changes everything. But like they are though. So,
and that's how
you know,
Trump got fucking elected. Everybody was like, dude, Hillary's going to win this in a walk. There's no way America will be this goddamn stupid. Never ever underestimate how goddamn dumb we are. We're so dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm the dumbest of them. I can't run for Congress.
And you're a hero though. Like you know, you're dumb as you are and you're a hero. That's the whole thing. Like
what if you legally change your name to Buttercream Dream and run as the Dream?
I should do that. I mean, dude, if I run, it's to me like I'm gonna have to. I can't just all of a sudden go up there and put a suit on and pretend to be something I'm not. Like I got to lean in like harder. You know what I mean? Like I will go up there. I'll probably wear the United States champion belt, not the European belt, just because I don't want to hear any of that shit from her, that commie bullshit, you know. But like I could do it. We could work a pretty good wrestling angle out of this. But then I'm no better than them, for God's sake. Somebody out there that's fucking smart with like a doctorate or some shit, run, and I'll write like a couple lines in your speech, because I know you're gonna be fucking boring.
Yeah, but dude, well, that's what I was about to say. The thing, doctors don't hit for people, man. Like that's what politics is. Is like you got to hit for people, and smart people don't hit for people. You know.
I know they don't. I'm glad that you said that, because that's something that's been weighing on me heavily. Because like, again, like I wasn't exaggerating when I said thousands of people have told me, like literally thousands of people. Like I've had like, you know, like upwards of 10 million views on some of these videos, and that comment gets put a lot there. And I will say the same thing. I'm like, look, I'm not qualified. I shouldn't do that. And every single time everyone goes, well, you're more qualified than her. And I'm making a plea to the world right now. We cannot let that be the thing. You know what I'm saying? We cannot start going, let's just be a tiny bit better than the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, we really need to get back to having standards, and we need to start running candidates who are above and beyond great and qualified. Not, oh, well, if Donald Trump can win, then so can Carrot Top. You know, like, stop it. Like, fuck, God, we're so fucked, man. Dude, I'm not kidding. I'm gonna bare my soul here for a minute. I was before I got on here, I was doing a little punch-up job, and I was in a digital writer's room. And the whole time, you know, I was fucking hitting. I got the Southern accent, but they were like, well, he's got the Southern accent, but he's clearly, you know, on our side on account of he's in a Hollywood writer's room. And at the end, they were like, so what part of Georgia are you in? And I explained to them that I was from this district. And, buddy, the looks on their faces, like, I think they almost stopped trusting me, you know, for a second.
Right. Because people still don't believe, like, you know, it's like, oh, sure, there's people like this in Georgia maybe, but he's like in the fancy part of Atlanta or something like that. Right. Or, you know, he's in like one of the sane parts.
Yes.
And it's like people think in the insane parts, all there are insane people. We a comment from Nathan Crossan here says, I want Neil deGrasse Tyson to run for office.
Would hit.
Yeah. I don't know how that'd go.
Well, that's kind of perfect because he's got a personality.
Yeah.
Didn't he get a little Me Too'd?
God damn it, Mark.
I think he got a little something another, you know, like everybody, hell.
Right. Yeah, you got it. Right. But like there's tiers to that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That was the thing from the beginning is there should be, there are tiers to it.
Well, like one time I saw a goddamn picture, and it was like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, and Aziz Ansari, and they were like the age of Me Too, and I was like, whoa, how the fuck y'all gonna do that to Aziz? Like, dude, he's a fucking 16 seed. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows that. I don't think it's controversial to be like some people are bigger monsters than or their behavior is worse than other people's.
Deanna Zant says, "Yup, Democrats haven't built the bench, and we're paying for it." Mark, correct me if she means the bench, like coming off the bench, right? Like people, we got up and comers, feeder programs in the Democratic world. That's why it's still all these old ass people, and then there's AOC in the squad, and that's pretty much it. And I agree with that.
To win.
Okay, hey, so speaking of AOC, can you fill me in on something? So I had a buddy text me today, and he was like, I can't decide which one's dumber, the Marjorie Taylor-Greene stuff or the AOC stuff. And I was like, wait, what's the AOC stuff? And he was like, she was talking about being traumatized by the Capitol stuff, and then turns out she wasn't even at the Capitol. And I was like, well, I mean, that could still traumatize her. Like, I wasn't at 9/11, but it still traumatized me. And I was just like, buddy, listen, it's okay if you don't like her, but to say that even if AOC lied about being at the Capitol, that's the same as lying about Jew lasers. That's what I've been talking to y'all about a million times, is how their whole world is black and white. They're like, they both lied, therefore they're both the same thing. But my point is,
can I tell you what happened?
AOC thing?
Okay. So, AOC didn't lie. What happened? They're taking her out of context to try to make her look foolish. She went on her Instagram. She went on her Instagram live and talked about like what that day was actually like and how she had to hide in her office. And she thought the mob had gotten to her office, but it turned out it was a security guard running around trying to find her to take her to a safer place. Now, but she thought it was a bad guy who would come in to kill her. So that's what she saw, not being scared. The not in the Capitol thing is like some weird bullshit where like she's saying she was in the Capitol, but she's clearly saying she was in the office, which is in the Capitol complex, which was like which is like through the tunnels or whatever. But they were running around the tunnels. They infiltrated everything. So
like, that if you're a Democratic politician that day, no matter where you are, you think, why couldn't it happen here? I mean, the planes hit the Twin Towers and then they hit the Pentagon.
Right. Well, it's like, I mean, like Corey said, like he alluded to, first of all, Mark, she didn't lie, and fuck the people saying she did. But like Corey was saying, if you found out that some of your other coworkers like incited some people to come to your job and specifically target you, but you weren't there that day, you'd still be really fucked up off of that. That would still very much upset you and traumatize you whether you happen to be there or not. So yes, I agree it's irrelevant in either direction. But I was like, okay, so Denia, I'm sorry, Denia. If Denia Pelletier Mitchell, I hope I didn't butcher that, says she never said she was at the Capitol. She was at the Connor Building across from the Capitol, where many congressmen / women have their offices. Which again, that's
they got in the
Capitol.
We've seen pictures of them in the office. One dude got arrested for smoking weed with his foot up on somebody's desk.
Also, for the record, like AOC is a politician, so I'm sure that she does, in fact, even if you love her, lie from time to time. But she's a young person that came up in the age of like the internet and shit. She knows what not to lie about. She wouldn't have done that knowing that she could get found out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different than Steve Renazizi or whatever, who lied about 9/11 during 9/11. Like, that's back then when you didn't think you could get caught. Brian Williams, I was in a helicopter. No, the fuck I wasn't. Like, that was back in the old days when people did used to be doing that shit. But AOC, say what you want about her, she ain't dumb.
Yeah, I agree with it. It blows my mind that people do still do that, and they do. But I agree that AOC wouldn't, wouldn't do that.
But again,
she's
even
too
what
smart
she
for
said,
it.
like that makes.
But like for example, and it's not the same thing as lying, but just to veer off on an odd tangent for a minute, that country music singer Morgan Wallen, right, who got caught saying the N-word, like clearly, it blows my mind, and I don't. It's shitty. It shouldn't never happen he shouldn't be saying it anyway, but I'm saying it's insane to me that a guy who's in that high profile of a situation ever gets caught with his pants down like that in today's day and age. Because to me, you got to be so fucking dumb dumb and drunk and all that to not realize that shit's going to happen to you. You know? Like,
I mean, he's like the same guy who Instagrammed himself making out with random girls at a COVID
dude, that
party.
makes it even more egregious to me. Is he just went through that and didn't learn a goddamn thing? It's like clearly he's just a complete dipshit. What else can you say about it?
Well, I mean, dude, what's crazy is like he's actually still tame compared to what country music singers used to be back in the day.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like none of the things, the stuff that we just mentioned that he did, neither one of them hit. But it certainly isn't Jerry Lee. It certainly isn't Jerry Lee Lewis waking up his party with a machine gun. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. But still, like you said, the things he did,
don't hit.
That didn't hit. No,
that didn't hit.
Very clear here on Evening Skews. Does not hit for us. The N word and yeah.
Can I say something on the record real quick so everybody knows?
Yeah.
9/11 happened.
Yeah. Also, Corey, didn't hit 9/11.
No, did not hit. 9/11 did not hit.
No, did not hit. We've been saying that for a long time.
Expect a trilogy. That's the first part.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Corey, senior Georgia correspondent, Corey Ryan Forrester, everybody. Thanks for being here, baby. And we'll see y'all next Tuesday here on Evening Skews. See you. Love you. Bye.